दीपक सर। अच्छा, लाइव स्ट्रीम हो रही है? कहाँ लाइव स्ट्रीम हो रही है? हाँ।
Facebook of Fire.
हाँ।
You want to record this for yourself?
कैन।
I can give you permission to record. Done. So if you have a laptop on, just press the record button there on your right.
बट यू ऑल विल बी रिकॉर्डिंग, राइट?
I will record it for myself, of course, and then they will create a YouTube video out of it. That may take a few weeks. You will have it as a ready reference for you.
ओके, ओके। ठीक है, आई ऑल्सो स्टार्ट व्हेन वी बिगिन द शो।
Yes. So,
तो क्या गूगली फेंकने वाले हो आप मेरे मुझे?
पता नहीं, वो मुझे भी पता नहीं है, वो जो फ्लो में क्या क्वेश्चन उस वक्त आता है, that we will see. It all
नाइस।
depends on your answers where it leads us. So
गेट
what
इट।
you will enjoy,
आई एम
both
श्योर।
of us, both of us.
आई एम श्योर, आई एम श्योर। Let's wait. I have also circulated on my social media. Some
Good,
people have asked for the invite.
good.
And
Let them come. Our old faithfuls, a few of us who are always there, also expected to join.
yes,
Hari
yes.
sir, Dr. Alka, Brenda, maybe some. So, hello, namaste, namaskar, good afternoon, good morning, or maybe even good evening, in whichever part of the world you are joining us from. My name is Deepak R. Khemani, and I am one of the co founders of Bloom. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this 257th. Yes, you heard that right. The number is 257. 257th non-stop Sunday Bloom Talk Show. What started as a small thought that we let's do something in the COVID times. Let's meet people who inspire others, who are leaders, who are trainers, coaches, athletes, doctors, trainers. Every part of the world has been represented on this show since we started. And our very own Ram Prasad Lal is there. So he has been to Antarctica twice. So we can now proudly claim that every continent of the world has been represented on Bloom. That includes Australia, UK, Africa, South America, North America, and of course, our very own Europe and Asia. So let's continue that series today with a very special guest. We have joining us today Meher Anmol Gehi. And it's a topic which is dear to all of us. As speakers, it's all about our voice. And she will be talking to us on why your voice matters, of course, and how about storytelling as self discovery. So we all hear that storytelling is the way to connect with your audience, and that makes you help become a better speaker. And when you tell stories, people want to listen to you. Let's understand from Meher what she does, why she does what she does, and how this will help us in self discovery. So I have a small, intro of Meher, which I will read out first a few lines, and then we'll ask her to tell us a little bit more about what she does. So Meher is a performance storyteller. She is a story trainer. She's also a voice artist. She loves to infuse her storytelling with music, theatrics, and spirituality. Her performances are known to enchant young and old alike. We will ask that there are a few more sentences which I can read out, but we will never really get to understand the real emotion if I read out something. So let's first welcome Meher to the show and let's understand from her. Meher, welcome. Go unmute yourself. Yes, thank you for doing that.
thank you. Thank you so much, Deepak ji. Thank you, Bloom World, Abhijit sir, Payal, for having me here. I've been meaning to be on Bloom Talk since a while, and I'm so glad that finally वो सितारा चमक गया, वो तारे मिल गए, the
Ah,
planets have aligned.
yes,
Really
yes.
thrilled and really grateful. Thank you.
Tell us about what you do, why you do, how did it start? Did it start when you were a little young with starry-eyed listening to others, or you grew up and suddenly there is this light which came on? Oh, I want to become a storyteller. Let us tell us your journey.
Yeah. So why not tell it in the form of a story, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah. So not too long ago, in a place not too far away, a mother was born. And like most first time moms, she doubted herself. She wanted to do everything right for her daughter. So when her daughter was 6 months old, she started reading to her, these read aloud stories. And what she saw amazed her, the sparkle in her daughter's eyes, the joy on her face. And she did not realize that her daughter started communicating even before she turned 2 years old. Now, friends around asked that, what were you doing right? And this mother wondered too, what was she doing right? And like most first time moms, like I told you, she doubted herself and wondered ki kya ho raha hai isme? What is the great thing she's doing? Then later she realized that it was the joy of reading, the magic of those stories, the imaginary worlds that this girl was visualizing that led to the development of her cognitive and communication skills. And then this mother decided to spread this magic to other kids in her neighborhood. She started with 3 kids, and then in a year she had 30. And this mother happens to be yours truly. And that's how I began, from my own living room, not knowing that this would be a calling that I've been waiting to unleash or waiting to discover for years to come. And when I was in my corporate job, I used to always think that there's something more that I need to do with my communication skills and all. And वैसा वो जरिया नहीं मिला. I didn't get that kind of an opening. So when I was about to quit my work to be with my daughter when she was 6 months old, people came and told me, "You're making the biggest mistake of your life. It's not easy to sit at home." And I said, "Who said I will sit at home?" I so वो I don't know if you've seen that movie, जिसमें विद्या बालन बोलती है मैं कर सकती है. There's that one movie and she becomes an RJ. So that was the dialogue or that inner voice that kept telling me मैं कुछ तो करूंगी. And that
Hmm.
time I had no idea that storytelling would become my main career. Yeah.
So, you shared your story about reading out stories to your daughter, and then, you have 3 people whom you are teaching, and then you suddenly made this your calling, and now you are now a professional storyteller. Could,
Mm.
could we say that?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, what
Proudly
makes a
and
good story?
humbly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what makes a good story? Let's say I want to learn from you, and you
Yeah.
tell me, Deepak, it's important that you become a storyteller. What is a story? Is it something which is read out from a comic book? Is it something that was taught to us when we were children, when we were reading the Ramayana or the Mahabharata? What is a story? Define a story for
So story is a set of ideas that can drive a message home. And it is again having some key elements. Now these key elements I call the 6 P's. Okay. um, तो एक जब भी I was studying marketing तो कॉटलर ने सिखाया था the P's of marketing. So
you.
these are the 6 P's of marketing that I have come up with. So
Okay.
your first is your place. Okay, where and when is your story happening? So that is very important to be defined. The second is the people. Now these people need not be just human beings. It could be animals. It could be even things which have got that personification. When we personify something, so we give the living attributes. So even if a lamp is talking in a story, it becomes people. So
Yes.
place, people, then the most important thing that a lot of people like us, when we are before we learn storytelling, we do not realize हम किसी भी चीज को story बोल देते हैं. But
Hmm.
for any event or an idea or an incident or something in your life, or even if you look at our scriptures, for anything to become a story, it's very important to have the next P, which is the problem or a conflict. So एक कहानी कहानी तभी ही बनती है when the main character is trying to overcome or achieve a goal and overcome a challenge or a conflict.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the next P I talk is the plot. What's the story about? What's your theme that you should know in when you're telling a story? The next P, and Deepak ji, if you have any questions in detail with regards to these P, we can look at it. The next P would be the peak. What is the peak or the turning point, the climax, or the most interesting part of your story where people are like ऐसे बैठे हैं कि वाह ये situation कैसे बदलेगी, or what will the character do now, or how will the character or the people in the story get help to achieve that goal or to cross on the other side. And the final part of the story is peace or resolution. So when we have all these six P's, that's when something becomes a story.
So we have place, we have people, there is a problem, there is a plot, there is a peak
Hmm.
where you reach where
Content
everybody
band
is,
कर दो.
looking forward and
ध्यान देगा तो.
wanting to know, take me there, give me the solution, or give me peace, and then, finalize it, close the chapter. Okay. So we have the six P's. Now, from what I gather, your story does not need to be real. As you said, it could be a lamppost, and then you have this lamppost speaking to you, or you have a tree speaking with you, or you have,
Absolutely.
if you read eh, when we were children, we used to read those comics. I mean, that was where we learned all these stories. We read about all these stories. But I remember when we were growing up, and my mother always used to say, whenever I used to pick up a knife, no, एक बच्चा था, उसने नाइफ पकड़ा, फिर उसका हाथ कट गया, तो नाइफ मत पकड़ो. When
हाँ
we used to go and put on the stove or the gas, एक
हाँ
बच्चा था जिसने हाथ डाला और उसका हाथ जल गया, ये मत करो. So there was a point in my life where I used to tell my mom, ये कितने एग्जाम्पल्स है, हर एक बच्चा अपनी माँ का बात नहीं सुनता है, मैं तुम जो बोलती हो तो मैं तो एक्चुअली करके दिखाऊंगा, नहीं ये लाइफ तो मैं यूज करूंगा. So we all grew up listening to these stories, possibly stories combined with fantasies, or not even real, but mothers and parents and grandparents trying to get a message across, as you said, for those six P's. For some reason, grandparents are no longer with their grandchildren. Parents don't have time to parent and tell stories to their children nowadays. So nowadays, we know you need to go to a professional storyteller to learn about storytelling, or send their children to such people. What has changed?
yeah, like you said, Deepak ji, we live in a world where there are a lot of nuclear families
Yeah,
where grandparents not necessarily stay with
yeah,
the children, with
yeah,
the grandchildren, and both parents are working for whatsoever
yeah,
reasons, with
yeah,
all due respect.
yeah.
So the kind of time that parents could give earlier has
Yes,
has gotten shrunken, right?
yeah,
And which is why a lot of parents want to send children to these storytellers or these professionals like me. तो मेरे पास बहुत parents आते हैं, and their kids are like 6 months old, 1 year old, and they say कि can you please take my child. I
yeah,
say no, you are your child's storyteller.
yeah,
So below 3 years, I don't think I would take a child, because those first 3 years are, as per so I've learned a little brain science when about newborns and
yeah.
how the brain develops till 8 years the most. So in the initial 2 to 3 years, it's so important for a child to build trust in the world. And
Yes,
how better to build trust when you're not spending enough time with your parents. तो मैं
Correct.
बोलती हूँ that all it takes, and this is exactly what I did with my daughter,
Yeah.
all it would take is minimum 15 minutes a day, that's it.
Hmm.
बस एक बुक लेके साथ में बैठ के पढ़ना है, फोन नहीं देखना है, you do not have to see your phone. Most importantly, you have to put your notifications aside. And I
Yes.
tell parents, choose a time that
Yeah.
your child also knows this is my and mama's time, or my or papa's
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Like when I was a kid, I remember me and my sister, we used to snuggle up to my dad, and he used to tell us stories, just make stories up, and we used to
Yeah.
end up believing it. Correct.
Yes.
So it's again not about what story you tell, but it's about
Yeah.
the time that you spend with your child. It's
Yes.
about the way you engage with them. Whether
Yeah.
you looking into their eyes when their eyes are lighting up, or when their hearts are shrinking with fear, are you giving them that cuddle?
Yeah.
So all these things help build a child's trust in the world, and
Yeah.
also build their inclination towards reading, towards storytelling, towards visualization,
Yeah.
imagination. So
Yeah.
the parent is the child's first storyteller.
Yeah.
And I say, before you send your child to me before 3 years, आप story पढ़िए, and I
Correct.
then suggest them some books and all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
तो
I mean,
करना तो पड़ेगा.
exactly. What you said just now about you and your sister, cuddling up to your father or waiting for that time. I also remember when we were really, really young, dad used to come home in the evening after work, and there was no TV and there were no mobiles in those days. So there were no distractions. You just look forward only to this happening every week, and he would pick up a book and then read out a story. And many of the times these stories were part Mahabharata, part Ramayana, or any other scripture where there was continuity, which means it wasn't just random story from here and there. It was a story which led to another thing and then led to another thing, and then in the end you understood the whole epic story. Now, the second part which happened is after that we were exposed to something called Amar Chitra Katha and comics, where everywhere by not seeing cartoons or TV, but reading these animated comics and stories, everything got built up inside. In fact, today, and I should actually be ashamed to say, today's children, including my children, do not know as much about our own history, our own tradition, about our own religion, about our scriptures than we did, precisely because we all went through this, and nowadays they don't have time to all do all this. They are just watching reels and watching TV, and they are continuously on social media. So
Yeah.
how do we bring this back and put this into parents and children's time, or into their space, so that we don't lose this?
I would say awareness. That is one of the big. I'm sure all parents know the drawbacks
Yes.
of digitization, and of while technology is a boon for very young children, it can really become a bane. And kids don't do what we tell them to do. Kids do what they see us doing. So we need to be those role models. We need to be those examples for our children. So the first thing, if you want to raise a reader or raise a storyteller, is you start reading. Have that time where you're not with your phone, or you're not
Yes.
watching a TV when you're back
Yeah.
home, even if
Yeah.
it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So I know, there was a time when my daughter started reading by herself.
Hmm.
Okay, abhi मैं then she didn't want me to read to her. Now how
Hmm.
do I keep that bond, or how do I
Yes.
show her that it's important to continue this habit? So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
there's a time when she's also reading her book, I'm reading my book.
Yeah.
The other thing I would suggest is, which I'm very grateful for my family, it was a rule in our house that when you're having a meal, okay, you do not watch a screen. If you've
Yeah.
seen Deepak ji, when we go to a restaurant, I see on my next
Yeah.
table, kyunki the
Yes.
parents want to eat their meals in peace, or they want the child to eat, there's some
Yeah.
nursery rhyme going on, some cartoons going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And having been a mother who's gone through that phase, I know it's really tough. It's not easy
Yeah.
to make a child sit in that high chair or in the chair for that long.
Yes.
So, what do you do in that case? Why
Yeah.
don't you sing a nursery rhyme? हम सबको
Yeah.
nursery rhymes आती है. Or sing your traditional folk songs.
Yes.
Okay, carry a coloring book, crayons, anything. I used to do that. I always had either a story book or a coloring book for my daughter whenever we used to go in a
Mm.
restaurant. Even for
Yeah.
a matter of fact, when we've been waiting in a in a school for her interview, when we were trying to get
Yeah.
admission, I remember building and telling her stories, और उससे हमारी एक नई story तैयार हो गई थी.
Wonderful.
So while I understand everyone can't make stories or can't come up with stories, carry a
Yes.
small book, carry some crayons,
Yeah.
have some game like stone, paper, scissor, or
Yeah.
anything which you can keep your child entertained, engaged,
Yeah.
bonded with you,
Yeah.
because that's the time. अगर वही time, because stimulation is necessary, but in the right amount.
Yes.
अगर वही टाइम हम ओवर स्टिम्युलेट करेंगे बच्चों को स्क्रीन
Yeah.
दिखा के,
Yeah.
then they are constantly seeking that dopamine rush throughout their
Yes.
lives,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, since we are on storytelling and, we've been through that part where we remember that we were children, we were reading those Amar Chitra Katha and all those comics, you know, 40, 45, or even 50 years later, is that still relevant? Are those stories still important? Or as parents or as storytellers, we also need to, probably change with the times and tell probably different stories or real stories. Because when we were growing up, we were told stories of 200 years ago, 500 years ago, maybe even 2000 years ago. Do today's children want to hear that, or will they get impressed, or will they learn from
The answer is yes and no, and I will tell you why. Yes, because stories are at the end of the day metaphors.
it? Yeah.
They mirror our lives,
Yes.
and the universal principles of life are the same. अभी वो 200 साल पुराने हो, अभी हो, most a lot of them are same.
Yeah.
So a lot of these epics, or I would like to call them histories, because there's
Yeah.
proof that Mahabharata actually happened. There's proof that
Yes.
Ramayana actually happened. So
Yeah.
I like to call them historical stories and not mythology.
Correct.
They have a lot of wisdom
Yes.
which transcends time,
Hmm.
and it's relevant even today.
Yeah.
Why is a Bhagavad Gita used even in the corporates as timeless wisdom?
Yes.
Because of those micro stories
Yeah.
which carry that wisdom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And there are these stories, but at the end of the day, which stories are relevant or which are stereotypes, that
Yeah.
is something that we as educators, as speakers, as
Yeah.
storytellers need to make
Yes.
an informed choice before we pass it on.
Yeah.
और पहले क्या होता था ना दीपक जी, हम एंड में हमेशा बोलते थे द मॉरल ऑफ द स्टोरी इज.
Story. Correct. Yes.
आजकल हम वो नहीं करते हैं,
Yeah.
because the message from a story may be different for every person in the room.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's very important that while you conclude a story, you do not give out the moral very explicitly.
Hmm.
You let a person decipher, or let a person perceive what he or she
Hmm.
would want to take. Because
Yes.
based on the journey of our life, we all take different things from whatever we are listening and all, right?
Yes.
Now, coming to which story endings we should change. Like, for example, I don't know if you heard the story called Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yes.
Okay, उसमें वो एक giant से मिलता है Jack, and then the giant kind of creates a havoc for Jack, और उसका full घर बर्बाद कर देता है. Now that kind of a story, I tell children, do you like the story ending?
Hmm.
And a lot of time they say no,
No.
right? then we try to work around what can change in the story, what is the turning
Mm,
point. So if you remember the
mm,
peak of the story, where the
yes.
climax is, what does the character do to
Yeah.
change the outcome or achieve the goal. So that
Yes.
is where I feel we can make that change, or we
Yeah.
can be the change.
Yes.
So if then I ask the audience that what do you think could be an alternate story ending.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, because some stories really become stereotypical.
Yeah.
Like if you remember the fox and the sour grape story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what if the fox actually, instead of saying, "Oh, the grapes are sour,"
Mm,
what if the fox actually went and called for help? What
mm.
if the fox approached a bird and said, "I'm
Ah,
really hungry. Can you
yeah.
help me get that bunch of grapes?"
Pick these for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not giving himself that false conclusion, "Oh, the grapes are sour
Grapes are
because I
sour.
can't reach." We
Yes.
can rather, change the meaning of the story and say it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And if you ask for help, you
Mm.
can probably get what you want.
Yes, there are so many variants to the ending of the hare and tortoise story. You go to corporate and motivational seminars, and everybody makes up their own version and says this is part two, and then this is part three, and this is what happened.
But it's possible, right? That's the best
Yes.
part of these stories. While they mirror
Yeah.
our life, while they
Yeah.
are metaphors,
Yeah.
you have the free will, you have the ability to change the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of us have our favorite story, which we want or we love repeating to whoever we meet or whatever audience we are addressing. Do you have one or two of those? And please share them with us.
Yeah, yeah, I have many of them. I have many of them. But
Yeah.
there is one particular story that really changed the way I started looking at things, especially in the pandemic. So, what happened in the pandemic? We all went online, and as a storyteller or a person, and as an educator, it was important to be noticed or be visible with the work. So, I had to start recording a lot of videos. Okay, like how you all started this Bloom talk.
Yes. Yes.
So, with regards to that, I'll come to the message, but first I'll probably tell you the story.
Sure.
Yeah. So, a long time ago, much before the time we live in, there lived a very powerful and benevolent king. Now, the people of his kingdom were really happy until one day a ferocious giant came stomping and roaring towards his kingdom and stationed itself at its border. Now, no one could enter the kingdom, nor could anyone go out. And the soldiers of the king's army would every day try to face this giant and try to tackle them. But this giant swung his enormous weapon that sent tremors down the ground and forced the soldiers to retreat. And this continued for many, many days. So finally, the king decided that I must now face this giant myself. It's time I take him head on. So the next day he geared up and his army was following him. But as soon as he saw this giant once again stomped and roared and swung his enormous weapon that sent shivers down everyone's spine. Now the king stopped and saw the enormity of this demon. He was perturbed for a minute, but then equally determined to conquer, come what may. So he kept moving forward and forward towards the giant, and the giant kept stomping and roaring and swinging his weapon. But as the king kept going, he noticed something strange, that the closer he was going, the giant seemed to be shrinking. He wondered if this was some kind of an optical illusion.
Mhm.
His horror turned into hope. And he kept moving further and further and further, and the giant seemed to be shrinking further. And then his hope turned into confidence. And soon he was next to this giant who was now no bigger than his little finger. So he bent down and picked up this demon now and put him on the palm of his hand. And before this demon could shrink further to the size of a grain of sand and blow off in the wind, the king asked, "Who are you?" And this demon, now very tiny and frail, responded, "My name is Fear." And with that, it was gone, blown off in the gust of wind. So we face fear giants everywhere, right? Even today, every moment in our lives. The fear giant could be the fear of speaking on stage, on coming on a talk show like this, on, you know, just speaking up in a meeting or, launching a program, starting a business, asking
Yeah.
for help. For me, that
Yes.
time it was the fear of recording videos. And I came across this story. And yeah, I think this story serves as an anchor to me every time I stop in my path wondering, can I really do it?
Yeah. So, this story where you use storytelling, where you use, almost visualization, where you are telling people to think, that this demon is actually becoming smaller and smaller, and that laugh of the demon, where you are actually putting yourself in place as if there is something really, really big right in front of you and trying to threaten you. You've used, visualization and audio and, voice modulation. Everything works together and, it gives out a message, what I'm trying to say. This story would be a wonderful story for, children, young children who are growing up, who want to be explained to the concept of fear and how to overcome it. If I want to say this story in a corporate setting, I probably had to do it differently.
Yeah,
So how would you do it differently? Would it be the same story? Would you modify it? Would you tell it differently? How would that?
I would tell the same story. The story
Okay.
can definitely work in a corporate setup also. There's
Okay.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Uh, but what I would probably reduce is the dramatization.
Yes.
The way I make these big eyes.
Yeah.
And probably I would also, what I would do in a actual setup is probably invite some participation also from the
Hmm.
audience, that what do
Yeah.
you think now the king will do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you think seeing the king, the demon steps back?
Yeah.
So I would probably have more of engagement,
Hmm.
reduce the drama a bit. But in
Hmm.
terms of the story, yes, I would still choose this story if I have to drive a lesson on fear.
Yeah.
In fact, this there's another story in the I think the Bhagavad Gita, or the no the it's a Krishna story actually,
Yeah.
where he faces this Balram and Krishna face this demon in a forest, and it's
Yeah.
called a story twin. So there are many story twins in our world where
Hmm.
the message is the same, the characters are different, the place is different, but the plot remains the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takeaway remains the same. Yeah. Okay. Is there a story which you always wanted to tell, but at some point you've never found the right audience for it? Which means, you want to tell this story, it has a meaning, it has a takeaway, it will take people to that peak, and then there will be finally peace and resolution, but you never found the right audience. Are there stories like that inside you, or you've ever wanted to tell?
Mm, there was one till some time back, but that also I found an audience last year in October. So
Wonderful. So if you could share it with us.
yeah, it's actually a very long story and it would take up a lot of time, but it was more about how the birth of my daughter, and how
Hmm.
that was a challenging time and how I overcame it.
Hmm.
So वो कभी सुनाऊंगी फुर्सत में. It's like a
Yeah.
20-minute long story.
Yes, we will look forward to that conversation whenever it happens.
Yes.
Now, many a times when we talk about storytelling or speaking or audience engagement or takeaways, we are always told to incorporate humor. Everywhere it is said that bring humor into your talks, bring humor into your speech. Humor is what connects with the audience. Is that your experience also? Does humor help? How much does it help? Is it too much sometimes? Or should every story have a little bit of every emotion, which means there should be humor, there should be sadness, there should be whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Humor is a fantastic tool, no doubt. And having humor definitely helps you connect better with your audience. But forced humor is not something that I would recommend. कि मुझे humor डालना ही है.
Yeah.
A story thrives, a story connects through emotions, like we all know. If the story is high on emotion,
Mm,
it will in any case connect with the audience.
mm,
And at the end of the day, humor is one emotion, right?
yeah.
It gives you joy, it gives you happiness. Now, if that joy and happiness comes in a different way, if the audience feels that even if you don't have humor in your story, you just have something like a feel good or a feeling of accomplishment or a feeling of achievement, that's good enough to feel that happiness. So, humor, yes, definitely. In fact, I have recently taken a program on imbibing some humor in my stories. But at the end of the day, you know what I realized, Deepak ji, it's not a necessity. It's not a make or break. It is definitely like an accessory that will enhance the appearance, will enhance the experience, but it is surely not something that can. It's not a deal breaker.
Clearly, it's a catalyst, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now, again, in your experience, what works in connecting with audiences better? Is it sad emotion or is this happy emotion? Or that also varies. When you're speaking to probably women, it's different. When you're speaking with men, it's probably different. And if you're speaking to a mixed crowd, it is different.
Absolutely. Your answer is in the question. It all depends on the audience.
Yeah,
Understanding the audience is the first step for a speaker, for a storyteller before they come on stage.
yeah,
What I have seen is that if, as a speaker or as a storyteller, you felt the emotion deeply, and
yeah.
if you're able to build that in front of the
Mm,
audience, because at the end of the day, I don't know if you've heard about mirror neurons.
yeah,
Have you heard about it, Deepak ji?
yes, yeah,
So suppose if I'm speaking a certain way in a certain pitch, you will naturally or intuitively try to match my pitch.
yes,
Likewise, if I'm feeling a certain emotion,
yeah,
if if I talk about how I had a preterm birth with my daughter, and so now I'm talking in a low tone.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm feeling that emotion even when I'm thinking about it. You will
yes,
somewhere feel or connect with it. So the one, but yeah, if you can have certain chuckles, certain giggles, certain laughter in
yeah,
your story, that
yes,
definitely pulls your audience in.
yes,
Also, surprise. Surprise is a very important or a very crucial emotion in a story. So I
yes,
call surprise like the turning point. Was it wacky? Was it weird? Or
yeah,
was it wonderful? The
yeah,
three W's.
yeah,
Yeah. Did the character do something which was out of the box?
yeah,
Weird, something that, oh, I couldn't have even thought of it. And
yeah,
wonderful. So that is something that keeps the audience glued on their seats
yeah.
and makes them want to listen to a story.
Yeah. You know, uh, recently we were reading that Smriti Irani is back in Saas Bahu. So clearly that Saas Bahu has an audience. There are these housewives and women sitting at home in the afternoon or in the evening wanting to, cry and then be happy and then listen to those
Absolutely.
stories.
Absolutely. And the roller coaster of emotions is what we are all made up of. what our
Yes.
daily lives are made up of.
Yeah.
So sometimes you wonder, are these stories a mirror to our lives, or are our
Yeah.
lives a mirror to these stories?
Yeah. Then again, I mean, since you spoke about mirror and life and stories, do you feel that stories help you understand life better? And have you become a better person by becoming a storyteller?
Absolutely. I mean, the way storytelling has transformed me as a person, I mean, I can speak on for days, but if I had to just give one incident. So, when I was growing up as a kid, I used to always be termed very sensitive. And I know it was done in a very derogatory manner. People, and I used to be like, I want to find this organ of sensitivity from my body and remove and throw it. I didn't want to grow up with it.
Yeah.
पर वो मिला ही नहीं. Where is it in the body? So, but when I became a storyteller and I started stepping into the shoes of my characters
Yeah.
and understanding why a certain character behaved a certain way.
Yeah.
Because when you prepare for a story, you do a lot of back work also.
Yes.
So, Tabi, that's when I realized that each character or everyone in our lives, we are doing something because of a certain reason, because of a
Yeah.
certain backstory.
Yeah.
So, an antagonist in a story, if you wear the lens of an antagonist and tell a story,
Mm.
the whole story changes.
Yes.
You see it from a different lens.
Yeah.
तभी you will feel, oh, the antagonist did right, or
Yeah.
protagonist को antagonist होना चाहिए था.
Clearly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that, so I realized that this skill of empathy, of
Yeah.
knowing what it feels to be in someone else's shoes,
Yeah.
helped me then. And
Yeah.
it not just made me a little less judgmental,
Yeah.
more compassionate, but also I began to accept that, okay, this is who I am. These are Meher's strengths. These are areas where she needs to work upon.
Yeah.
And the whole judgment towards my whole myself also became less.
Yes.
And also, people tell me that, Meher, you're a very good listener. I think
Mm.
I give full credit to storytelling for that.
Yeah.
Because to be a good storyteller, you need to first be a good listener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meher, right on my screen, I'm there right in the middle. It's you on the left, and there is another person on the right. You are wearing pink and magenta. She's wearing pink lipstick, and she has that pink and magenta in the background. You are sensitive, and she's also very, very sensitive, and I'm sure she's looking for that sensitive organ also. She'll probably find it one day. Let me bring her in, and let's see if she has any questions for you. Payal.
Thank you, Deepak sir. Namaste, everyone. Thank you, Meher, for gracing the Bloom platform. My question to you is, what is the message you would like to leave with those who feel unheard or are hesitant to share their voice? And after this, I'll go with a rapid fire questions with you.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'll share a personal story because this whole idea of being unheard, unseen, it reminds me of something. And let's see if we can get the message from there. So I was a very shy kid. No, like I mean it. Like really, really shy. Okay. So you could, but who wanted to be seen and who wanted to be heard. Okay. That was the irony. I was a shy kid, but I wanted to be seen, I wanted to be heard. Now, I think I had the soul of Govinda, that performer's soul, but trapped in the body of Manmohan Singh. So, in school, I used to go for these elocution competitions to audition because what better way, right, to be seen, to be heard? But there was only one problem. Can you guess? I never made it to the finals. And so I used to think, kya hai bhai? Like, later analysis made me realize कि ठीक है, I wasn't probably that khichdi, that bland khichdi, But probably I wasn't that irresistible biryani either. So the judges didn't just boo me off stage, but they forgot ki haan, someone like her exists. Which for this nurturing, nourishing, flavorful khichdi, a shy person like me was even worse. कि भूल जाओ भाई कि हम exist करते हैं. But still I wanted to be seen, I wanted to be heard. So I tried other things. I tried competitions like art competitions, academics, or sub mein I excelled. First top three always. Finally, I got my accolades, I got my certificates, and I also got my revenge on those elocution judges. Anyway, but still, I wanted to be seen and heard like on stage, right? Then came college. I grew up and I went to this magical place where you step out not just out of your comfort zone but also out of your uniform. And the worst thing, or the best thing, I would say, finally, the world of co education. Yeah, I came from an all girls school. I had no brothers, no male friends. My only experience with boys was fantasizing with Shah Rukh in his those movies. But I was a die-hard fan. So one day in class, I was just sitting quiet, unseen, unheard. And then this group who was playing, they invited me to play Truth or Dare. And then I looked around and I thought to myself, you're calling me to play Truth or Dare, like me. Like, do I look at like someone who's ever played anything but Snakes and Ladders or Ludo? कि मुझे Truth or Dare खेलने बुला रहे हो. And but my inner was like, chalo jao, go see, be seen, go be heard. This is your stage, go. So I said, okay, chalo खेलते हैं, क्या हो जाएगा. And then after a few bottle turns, the bottle turned towards me, and they asked, truth or dare. Now, knowing the shy person I was, आप सब सोचोगे कि she must have definitely chosen truth. Wrong. I chose dare. Because अभी तो first you had to prove yourself, right? You had to be seen. मतलब क्या ही करना होगा इतना, मतलब कॉलेज में क्या ही डेयर होगा. So they were all like, ooh, that hiss that comes after dare bolo. So they dared me to walk up to any guy in class and tell him he's handsome. I'm like, what? I mean, मैं girls school से आई हूँ. I can't even, I've never spoken to a boy, not even accidentally, except Rahul sometimes in my dreams. अरे राहुल, नाम तो सुना होगा ना? That Rahul. So I scanned the class and then boom, my eyes locked on a guy who was tall, who was dark, and Deepak ji, handsome. Yes. So I walked up to him and I said, excuse me. And he turned and said, yes. So I said, you see those people over there? They asked me to come and tell you you're handsome. And over and done. I was almost out of that scene when this group, those so-called friends, they emerged from behind like these reality show hosts and they grabbed me and yelled, we asked her to pick any guy, but she picked you. Bas, that was it. I didn't know where to hide my face. And I felt like screaming, काश मुझे धरती क्यों नहीं उगल गई and all those damn Bollywood dialogues. And this was supposed to be a dare, right? Why did you have to vomit the truth?
Hey Ma, Mataji!
Yeah, but come on, guys. And before you ask me what happened to that guy and all, real life थी, कुछ real life नहीं, so nothing happened. But the point I'm trying to make is that this was one of the most embarrassing moments for me. And when you show up, even when you are embarrassed or when it's very uncomfortable, not killing, you shouldn't feel like it's a suicide. No, it's uncomfortable, it's embarrassing. But when you show up in those moments, that's when the real you shines. That's when, and probably those were the was one of the first moments when I took up the courage and went and did something which was very uncomfortable for me. But I got seen, I got heard. Because, like we all know, wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard is very human, right? So I would say to every person who's shy out there, may your these dares be bold, and may your truths be told, and may you show up even when your hands go cold. So that is what I would like to tell.
Thank you for sharing the space, being so vulnerable, Meher. But from my perspective, you bloomed from your what we say, uncomfortable. You bloomed. There is this word, Deepak. So if you can please help me, I'm not getting it. Out of your comfort zone. So this is where as a third person, I can tell. So thank you for sharing this space. And let's start with the rapid fire question, Meher.
Yeah,
A story you will never forget.
my God, there are so many. But there's this story called The Truth and Story. If we get a
Okay.
chance, I can tell you in the end.
Yes, sure. One storyteller you admire.
Again, many, but there's this one storyteller called Jiva Raghunath, from whom I've learned a lot. She's one of my mentors. Yeah.
The first story you ever told.
I think it was a Panchatantra story I told my daughter.
Oh, okay. The quote that defines your journey.
God helps those who help themselves.
Beautiful. Tea or coffee before a performance.
Water.
Okay, water.
None. Neither tea nor coffee.
Uh-huh.
Because my lips ऐसे होता है.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Meher. Over to you, Deepak sir.
Meher, Dipti is your mom.
Yes.
Dipti
I
ji,
have my
please.
I have
Yeah,
my
yeah.
mom, I have my
Yes.
husband, I have my
Yes, I saw
Masi.
Anmol also. Yeah, his name is there. Yeah, Dipti, please unmute yourself. Auntie ji, unmute करिए अपने आप को. I
Yes,
saw you clapping when she said that story.
yes. I wanted to appreciate how she's come up of all the times, the way she was
Tell,
saying, yeah, the shy she was, and now how she is. I really appreciate.
tell us a little bit about her, especially the little Meher like she was when she was growing up. That's your dad, Meher?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Good to see dad and mom together. Yes,
yes.
good. Dipti ji, please tell us a little bit about Meher when she was growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very good in academics, like she said, and the way she said she wanted to be seen. Now she's really come up. I will not be able to see.
Tell us about the stories you used to tell her when she was a kid. She shared with us the
Stories,
stories she says to her daughter.
stories,
The stories.
stories about my childhood, like how we were four sisters and how our dad used to tell us and how he incorporated discipline and all. So many things she incorporated also. Yeah.
Typical parenting. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Anmol, if
yes.
you are around, yeah, Anmol, if you can unmute or show us your face.
I don't know if
He's probably a little shy.
No, no, he
he's
must
not the
not.
shy one.
He's
No,
not the
he's
shy
not.
one. There he is.
Yeah,
Hi,
here he
Anmol.
is.
Sorry, am I audible? Sorry.
Yes, we can see and hear you. How are you,
Yes,
Anmol?
I'm very good, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, I mean, we've been listening to Meher for the past, 52 minutes, and you've been around. You've logged in since then. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you find her?
It's a ironic story. So I used to work in a factory with my father earlier in a business, and it was very close to where her residence is.
Hmm.
So one day when I was actually heading back home in the evening, this young girl was coming back to her house, and we bumped in just around a dairy. You know the small dairy shops that are there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we
A
bumped
doodh
into
wala.
there,
A
a
Good
doodh
one.
wala,
doodhwala
as we say.
basically,
Yes.
and we bumped into each other, and that's when we started to talk more. Earlier, also we used to talk because families know each other,
Good.
but it was not like you know we interacting with each other on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah.
So we started to talk to each other, exchange numbers, and rest is history for both of us.
Rest is, yeah, part of history is story, high story. So
Yes,
history, that's your story.
yes, yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Anmol, thanks for joining us and, sharing your story with us. Really happy to see you. And
Thank you so
there
much.
you're smiling. Thank you, Anmol.
I want to introduce my daughter to you also because she's
Please,
one of
please,
the
we would love to see her. Yes,
inspiration to her mother. Trisha,
yes.
here she is. 1 second.
There is a little Meher in glasses. Yeah. Hi, Meher. Hi, Meher. Hi, Trisha. How are you? Hi.
Hello,
So nice to see you.
Trisha.
Hi.
Trisha,
There,
please.
Nani and Nana also there. Yeah.
Trish.
Trisha.
Wonderful, wonderful. Hi. Thank you for joining in. So, what message would you like to give to people like us, professional speakers and other speakers who haven't yet, for some reason, incorporated storytelling into their structure, into how they communicate with people, how they want to give their message out? Because I remember, our mentor, Sam Cawthon, the one message he had for us was all of us have a story, and everyone's story is unique. Unless you tell your story to the world, they will never know your story, your experiences, your love, your emotions. And nobody else has lived your life. So they can't tell your story. It's only you can tell your story. So what's your message to people who are still thinking, who are still not sure, or who are still not incorporating storytelling into their messages, into their speeches?
Yeah. So I heard this one very famous storyteller say that your story will be impactful or remembered only in two ways. Either tell a story that has never been told,
Yeah,
or tell it in a way that's never been told.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So now we all know the hare and the tortoise story. We all
yes,
know the ant and grasshopper story.
yeah,
But the way Deepak ji would tell and vis-a-vis the way Payal would tell would be totally different. So
yes,
what is your unique element that you get to your storytelling?
yeah,
Okay, for me it is songs. For me it is shairi.
yeah.
And for me it is having a lot of, like, one storyteller told me, Meher, you're very raw. I'm like,
Oh,
raw? Is that,
okay.
I mean, and I was like, ये compliment दे रही है या बजा रही है, क्या कर रही है? I'm like, is that a compliment? She's like, yeah. I mean, she's saying whenever you tell your story, you'll be like, "Ugh," in the story only, oh, or something like that, which is rawness. Like
Yes.
Meher is coming out. So how
Yeah.
can Deepak ji come out in a story he's telling? How can Payal
Yeah.
come out in the story she's telling?
Yeah.
And that is exactly where the AI stories, and we can make out, right? This is an AI
Yes.
story.
Yes.
Because your voice, the way you speak, is not
Yeah.
there in that.
Yes.
And if I had to give some three tips on how you can make your story wow, or how can
Yeah.
you bring your story alive,
Yes.
one is uh, raise the stakes of a story. Like, if this is not achieved, what will happen?
Yeah.
Amplify the problem in the story.
Yeah.
What happens in that is the audience will be glued till the end. Yeah, so your problem or your challenge in the story has to be super strong, or
Yeah.
something that the audience will relate and want to listen till the end. Have a very
Yeah.
strong hook to the story. Hook is the beginning, how you
Yes.
start your story, because
Yeah.
those initial 15-20 seconds define whether your audience will listen to your story.
Yes.
And a third part which I feel is very, very important and a lot of people
Mm.
don't use in their story is dialogues.
Yeah.
When the characters are talking to each other, so that is
Mm.
the external voice, or even when the character is thinking, that is the internal voice.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I was worried about the PPT,
Mm.
you know, you can say, how am I ever going to crack this in front of my boss who
Yeah.
thinks I'm so silly in presenting? Does that show? But that also gives, so have these dialogues, because
Yeah.
when you add dialogues, it gives a sense of immediacy. It
Correct.
gives a sense of that the story is happening right in front of you.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are the
Yeah.
three things.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. We could go on, and it's almost 1:30. The clock almost is about to strike 1:30. Payal, would you like to do the honors?
Thank you, Deepak sir, for the wonderful hosting. Thank you, dear audiences, for being here with us in past 1 hour. And gratitude, Meher, for gracing the Bloom platform. And see you, everyone, for our next episode next Sunday. And one message I would like to end, as Meher has shared. When you own your voice, you begin to own your story. So thank you for sharing this. God bless us all. Namaste.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Payal. Thank you, Meher, for joining in. Thank you,
Thank
everybody who
you.
joined in and stayed till the end. And just to inform you, next Sunday, same time, 12:30 afternoon India time, the 258th
Eight.
non-stop Sunday Bloom Talk Show with another expert, another teacher, another influencer, another inspiring person where we get to listen and hear their story and help inspire others. See you then next Sunday. Bye.
Thank
God bless
you.
us all. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
Thank
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
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 Bye. Bye.